Hello, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to be covering Event Hub. If you can recall, the last couple of videos we've been looking at Event Grid. But this time around, we are looking at Event Hub. Event Hub is more like the mother of Event Grid. And the reason why I call it the mother is because of the volume of data it can process. So it's generally regarded as a big data streaming platform because it can stream millions of data in just 1 second. The volume of data it has the ability to stream is very, very enormous. And there are a couple of differences as to how you can make use of it compared to Event Grid. And we'll be seeing all that, some of that in this video and the next couple of videos. So let me share my screen. So I'm on the Azure portal now. I want to work with Event Hub. What you do is you just search for it, Event Hub. So we need to create a namespace first before we can create our Event Hub. To create a namespace, you can see this is empty. Just click to create Event Hub's namespace. Okay, so I have a resource group for Event Hubs. I will give it a name. I will just call it E Event Hub namespace Frankly EHN. Now I'm fine with France. So we scroll down, pricing tier. I think I can work with the basic. So you can go with the standard bets. Let me work with the basic. So I'll be deleting this almost immediately. So we have something interesting here. They call it the throughput unit. So it can be increased to about 40, but in our own situation, one is fine. So there are a couple of concepts that you should take note of when working with Event Hub. One of them is your partitions, and I'll be explaining the implications of partitions very soon. You can see by default we have one. So let's see what we have. Version 1.2 is fine as a minimum TLS. I think I can just quit. We are creating our namespace now, and the namespace is more like the container where our event hub is going to reside. So I'll click to create. So it's being created now. So in this video, I will show you how you can send data to the event hub as well as receive data from it, just like the way we are working with queues, just that this can process a lot more data per second. So if you have some kind of service that you are running and so much information is taking place in milliseconds and you are thinking of a service that you can use for such, then Event Hub is what you should consider. So this is being created now. And if you can recall, in the case of Event Grid, there was not a standalone service for Event Grid. Rather, we're using it um, as part of, we're working with it from a storage account, and we're also working with it from a resource group or from a custom topic. But in this case, we have a full-blown service for this. So rather than have event handlers and event source. In this case, we are going to be having event producers and event receivers. So our deployment is complete. So I go to the resource. Okay, so one thing you will notice is that some of these properties are not supported or not enabled, and the reason is because we are working with basic pricing tier. Okay, so what we'll do now, if we want to create our event hub, which we'll do from here, but I just want you to see some things over here. You can see we can create our shared access signature here, and we'll be creating one very soon. But because of least privilege, I would rather create it from the event group level rather than from the event hub layer. Okay, so let me just go over to create my event hub. I'll give it a name, events hub frankly. Yeah, so now the partition count. I told you about this partitioning. If you come over here, you see that partitions are a data organization mechanism that relates to the downstream parallelism required in consuming applications. The number partitions in an event of directly relates to the number of concurrent readers you expect to have. So in a way, you can think of it like when you are load balancing, when you are trying to create redundancies. So you are trying to have several duplicates of what you already have. So you can think of it that way. But in our case, because this is just a demo, we are fine with just one. Then I think all others are fine. Capture, we can't work with capture because this is basic. So we can't work with capture, it's switched off because we're on basic tier. Okay, so we are creating our events hub now. So it's being created now. Okay. If I should scroll down, we'll see that we have our events hub listed here. Message retention just an hour and partition count is just one. So I'm going to open this. I'll open this so that we can create our stored access, shared access signature. So I'm clicking on this. Add one. So we start from send. Let me give it policy send as the name. That's to send messages to our event hub. That's what we use to send messages to our event hub. Then I want to create another one to listen. So we call this policy listen, which will be to retrieve messages. Yeah, so we are going to be doing this sending and receiving from Visual Studio. But let me also mention that you can do that from here as well. So if I should come over to Data Explorer, you are going to see that you can both send and receive messages. You can send events, you can view events as well. But we want to do it from Visual Studio, which will be what we'll be using mostly when it comes to real life applications. So what I'll be doing now is I will just be copying I'll go to send and I want to copy the connection string. So I'll copy this, it's copied, then I will share my Visual Studio screen and I have a simple console application that uh, basically sends events to our event hub, send messages as you react. So I'll just come over here. It's very straightforward. All the classes are very easy to use and can just use them. So I'll just replace this connection string that I have here with what was copied. Okay, so I'll paste this with what was copied. So that's the connection string that will get us connected to the event hub. And what we want to do is this event, so this list of orders, we want it to be captured in our event hub. So we want to capture all this in our event hub. And if this is successful, we want to console write line batch of events sent. So the only library, the Nugget package that was added that is of interest to us is azure.messaging.event.producer, because what we are doing here is we are performing event producer operation. So I will save this and I'll be running it now. So let me stop sharing and I'll share the output screen. Still running, so I want the output screen to be visible first before I share. Yeah, so it's ready now. So let me share. Yeah, so you can see batch of events sent. So that tells you that our event was sent successfully. So I'll stop sharing and I will close my output screen, and now we'll go over to our Azure portal to see if we can retrieve these events from the Data Explorer. So I believe you can see my portal now. So we are still going to write a console application that will be able to retrieve it, but let's just try to retrieve from here. So I'll come over here to oldest position and I'll click on view event to see if there are any events that we can view. And we can see the 5 events that we have. You can see them or the other information. You can see it's the same thing as what we had in our Visual Studio. Now we also want to see if we can do this from, I want to retrieve this information from using a .NET program as well. So I'll stop sharing. I will open another console application, another Visual Studio console application. Um, so I'm opening the console application now, then I will do share. So now let me share again, share my Visual Studio now. Yeah, so I forgot. So we also need to copy the connection string so that I will replace it. So I'll just go and copy that right now. So I'm on my portal now. I'm going to shared access policy, and the policy that we created for listen is what I'm copying now. I'm copying the connection string, the primary connection string. So I've copied that and I'm back here now. And I want to replace this. Okay, so I'm pasting this now. Yeah, so we have this data. Key things that I want you to take note of is the consumer group. You can see we are using the default consumer group because this is just test, but you can definitely create multiple consumer groups, and you can specify the one that you are working with and their implication to this. So in subsequent videos, we are going to see the usefulness of this consumer group as well as partition ID. Okay, so if I should run this program now, you can see we want to see the partition ID for each of the order We want to see the data offset. We want to see the sequence number. We want to see the partition key as well as the event body. So I'll be running this very soon. And again, we're also using the Nugget package Azure Messaging Event Hub, but this time around, instead of producer, we are using consumer. So I'm running this and I will be sharing the output screen. Yeah, and now we can see all the information that we need. You can see the partition ID is the same for each of the other, and that's because we choose just one partition. One we chose to use just a single partition. We can see the sequence number starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then we can see the partition key as well, which um follows the information that we have concerning this. And we can see the data offsets also, this dynamically generated number. And this data offset is more like the size. So you can see it's increasing. It starts with 0 and it's increasing as we add more data to our hub. Okay, so this is just a simple demonstration on how you can work with Event Hub, how you can send messages to Event Hub, how you can um, retrieve messages from it as well. So one thing I would say is that if your career is around big data, you do a lot of data analysis, you try to you're interested in data science, Event Hub is something that having a skill around it will be of great use to you. Yeah, so and it's very easy to use. Azure makes it a whole lot easier. So if you find this video helpful, if you find it informative, don't hesitate to share, like, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day, everyone.